Just want to quickly say that since recording this video last night, we had two more accumulator winners for odds of over 10 to 1, with Bournemouth and PSG to win in the double up, where the aim is to double your stake with a single bet, and the both teams to score mega double with PSG and Bournemouth both to win with both teams to score. As I mentioned in the video, you can check out all of the exclusive members tips and accumulators using the Patreon link in the description, and if you're quick watching this video as it comes out, you might be able to get to the Patreon in time for today's late kickoffs in the European fixtures. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Today it is an exciting video because we have half of the week 29 Premier League predictions, the rest of which have been postponed because we also have the FA Cup quarterfinals. So I thought I'd combine the two and do the Premier League and FA Cup quarterfinals in this one video. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe down below. Thank you so much to the 100 new subscribers that have joined the channel in the last week. We are about 150 away from 27,000, so let's try and get to 27,000 this month. That would be insane. So I have been away on a work trip, so I haven't been able to post any tips for the members this week up until today, this morning, when I have posted tips. But last week towards the end, we had these two winners on my last posts over on the Patreon. We had the both teams to score treble, and which one of them of course didn't happen because Southampton Preston was called off due to a massive fire that broke out next to St Mary's Stadium, and a high odds result on both teams to score double. Porto win to nil, Galatasaray both teams to score, and they ended up winning 6-2. So if you want to get involved with the tips and accumulators and stuff like that, obviously it's only a monthly fee and I post tips pretty much every single day. Be sure to join the link, or you can also click the join button down below, but that is probably the best place to go over on Patreon because you can also direct message me and I can actually access posts and stuff on my phone in the off chance that I am away from the computer like I was over the last few days. Flashing up on the screen are all of the members that have joined the Patreon since we started 6 months ago. I really do appreciate all of your support. You're keeping these videos going because there are a lot of uploads that we're working with. It's only going to get more and more frequent as we move into the latter stages of the season, sort of starting around the end of March onwards. And then of course we have the Euros and everything like that, which we will be covering here too. So if you want to shout out in every video, then be sure to click the Patreon link in the description below. So we're going to start with the Premier League fixtures, and kicking it off we do have Burnley up against Brentford. Now Burnley actually got a pretty decent result away at West Ham with a 2-2 draw, and Brentford gave Arsenal a little bit of a scare. I was following that game, and once again, for the second time this season, Kai Havertz scores a late winner against Brentford. And I tell you what, to get the double over Brentford it's a very, very valuable 6 points. It's a tough thing to do. I mean, last season Brentford did the double over Manchester City. It's not often that teams get back-to-back wins home and away against Brentford in the Premier League because they are just a tricky team. Whether it's home or away, they usually give you a game somewhere. So I'm happy that Arsenal managed to do that and secure that top spot in the league. But with regards to this one, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to shade it to Brentford. I know they're not in the best of form, but Burnley obviously aren't either. But I'm going to shade it to Brentford 2-1. But on the chance that I think Burnley could get something from this game, they will be massively encouraged by their draw away at West Ham. They could come back to Turf Moor, even though their home form is pretty abysmal, and get something. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Brentford, but the tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.66. Following this, we have Luton up against Nottingham Forest. Luton getting a good point away at Selhurst Park. Nottingham Forest losing by 1-0 against Brighton. We did tip Brighton to win in that one, but I think this is going to be another close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I can't pick a winner. If I could, I would shade it to Luton at home, Kenilworth Road, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be a close one. Luton will be grateful for any points at this stage, but obviously they're looking at this game thinking this is a 3-point fixture. Forest will be thinking the same, and I think that lends itself well to a high-scoring, entertaining game. So 2-2 draw. The tip is both teams to score at 1.57. After this, it's Fulham up against Tottenham. Fulham losing out to Wolves at the weekend. We tip both teams to score there, and Tottenham demolishing Aston Villa 4-0. I don't think many people really saw that coming. I don't think anyone would have predicted a 4-0 win to Tottenham at Villa Park. I think they're clicking at the right time. Tottenham should be, I believe, the favourites to get top 4. However, Tottenham do have a tough run of fixtures, and they have a huge part to play in who is going to win the Premier League title because they play all of Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City in the remaining 10 game weeks fixtures. So it's going to be very, very exciting. For this one, I do think they're going to get an away win. it's going to be Tottenham to win 2-1. I think both teams will score. Tottenham, other than that win to 0 against Aston Villa, when they do win recently, they're pretty much always conceding as well. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Tottenham, and the tip at above evens, I'm going to go Tottenham to win at 2.05. I like that. They're on a roll. Fulham just came off of an L. Tottenham with a resounding win, and they can really try and put some pressure on Aston Villa with a win here against Fulham, and looking for that 4th place spot. Speaking of Aston Villa, after this we have West Ham up against Aston Villa, and Villa need to bounce back. They really do, and West Ham, they'll be disappointed that they couldn't get 3 points against Burnley. I do think Villa, being the team that's just a little bit better than West Ham and has been this season, I'm going to shade the victory to them. But again, it's another both teams to score tip. So I'm going to go once again 2-1 to Aston Villa. So that's 3 2-1s out of the 4 fixtures. I could go Luton 2-1 as well and just do a 2-1 across the board. I just think 2-1 is such a common scoreline because it's sort of where there's a team that should be the favourite to win, but they're unlikely to keep a clean sheet. So naturally you gravitate towards 2-1 because it's the easiest way for a team to win and concede a goal. So I'm going to go 2-1 Aston Villa. The tip is both teams to score at 1.5. You could do a both teams to score 4-fold on all of those fixtures. I genuinely think that is worth your time. But moving on now to the FA Cup quarter-finals. Kicking it off, we have Wolves up against Coventry. Now, Coventry absolutely battered Maidstone United 5-0 in the replay last time out. We tipped over 3.5 goals at 1.72 there over on the Patreon for that game, so that was good there. And Wolverhampton Wanderers getting a win against Fulham last time out, and once again at odds of 1.7, we tipped both teams to score in that game. So again, I feel like I've got a pretty good feel on this. Wolves are at home, and I actually like the odds. I mean, they're quite short, but for a good reason. Wolves are a good side, and they are better than Coventry, so I'm going to go for a Wolves win. 2-1 again. I think Coventry can score because you kind of have to score really in a cup tie unless you're getting absolutely smashed. So I think they're capable of that, but I'm going to go 2-1 to Wolves, and the tip is Wolves to win at 1.61. Now, after this, we travel to the Etihad for Manchester City up against Newcastle, the battle of the billionaires, and I think Newcastle are really going to struggle here. We tipped that they would lose, and both teams to score against Chelsea. And it's funny, Liverpool Man City, I originally wrote down 1-1 Liverpool City, and then mid-recording the last episode, if you watched it, I convinced myself to change my prediction to 2-1 City, but kept the tip at both teams to score. So my initial gut reaction of 1-1 was spot on, and if anything, Man City were lucky not to lose that game against Liverpool in the end. But FA Cup, they're going to beat Newcastle quite convincingly, I think. So I'm going to go for Manchester City 3, Newcastle 0, and the tip is going to be Man City -1 at 1.66, because all that is a 2-0, a 3-1. I don't think Newcastle are going to trouble Manchester City too much. They might score, but as you can see here, I've got City to score 3. I think they're going to absolutely destroy Newcastle, to be honest. So that would see Man City and Wolves going through to the semi-final, and obviously, we have 2 more teams to decide. Next up is Chelsea up against Leicester. Chelsea with a good home victory against Newcastle last time out. And Leicester, it used to, well, a long time ago, it was nailed on that they were going to win the championship. Throughout the whole season, they were top by a long way. And now the gap is as small as 2 or 3 points, I believe, with Leeds and Ipswich closing the gap. Some surprise results for Leicester. And I don't think they're going to get anything from Stamford Bridge here. It's pretty classic fixture. I love Leicester games. That, well, the old Premier League Leicester games anyway. There are a lot of high-scoring games, entertaining scorelines. I think we're going to see something similar here. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to the Blues, and the tip is going to be Chelsea and both teams to score at 2.75, which would see Leicester, of course, exit in the quarterfinals, focusing on the championship, because it's now not guaranteed that they get promoted. They obviously will, like I do think they will, and they probably will win the championship. But given that there are 2 teams, Leeds and Ipswich, within a win behind them, if Leicester lose a couple games and Leeds and Ipswich win, I mean, Ipswich were unlucky against, I believe it was Cardiff, I think, 2 stoppage time goals to go from winning 1-0 to losing 2-1. That would have seen, I think they would have been level on points with Leicester had that freak end to the game not happened. So that's how close it is in the championship, whether it's race for playoffs, relegation, everything is within a couple of points, and it can change. It's on a knife edge every single game week. So Leicester might not even get promoted. They could finish 3rd in the league and not go through the playoffs. Even if they did make the playoffs, I think Leicester would win, but still, it's going to be close. I'm excited, but I'm going to go Chelsea to win this one here, and then Leicester can focus again on the championship and try and seal that win. And then the final FA Cup quarter-final matchup, it could only be Manchester United up against Liverpool, and it's hard to look past Liverpool despite their injury troubles. I think Man United will give them a good game. It's at Old Trafford, but it seems to me that Liverpool find a way. even if they're not at full strength. They just seem to find a way. So I'm going to shade it to Liverpool, but the result, the tip is not going to be in the result market. I'm going to go 2-1 to Liverpool because I think Manchester United should score. We tipped Man United to win against Everton and score 2 goals. The odds were 1.85. I thought that was phenomenal, and I saw a lot of people say you just couldn't back Man United to win at those odds. I thought, really? Nearly evens against Everton, the team that have underperformed their XG by a greater margin than anyone maybe in the Premier League ever? Like, Everton could have scored 6, but they just don't. They literally just don't. So I thought Man United to win there was nailed on, to be honest, and we were correct, even if it was 2 penalties. But I think here I'm going to go Liverpool to win 2-1, with the tip being both teams to score at 1.53. So we have the Premier League fixtures where I think all the teams are going to score, and then we'd have an FA Cup semi-final of Wolves, Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool, a stellar lineup, and then we will have the draw at some point to decide who plays who. So it's all very exciting. If you did enjoy this video, please do drop a like, subscribe, as I said, join us on the road to 27,000 subscribers, and I will see you in the next video very soon.